Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to go through what is in my wallet. What really is what's in my portfolio. If that's what you're looking for. Stick around. So my name is Brad, and I've been retired now for over a year, and I follow the market, and I have a circle community, which I highly recommend you joining. But today we're going to go through what is in my portfolio. And we're just going to go ahead and start with business development companies. Now, interest rates are going down. Fed made a cut. Business development companies will take a slight hit, but you'll notice that I sold BizD, and I took a little bit of money off the table for business development companies. But that is what I did. I didn't need all that money in business development companies, so I took it off. I will build out the singles over time. Haven't made a decision when, but most likely when the Fed gets close to stop cutting rates. And then, until then, we'll just go with it. Now, I don't think that there's going to be any distribution cuts, but they're going to be under pressure for the next few months. So let's just watch the business development companies and let them pay me anywhere from my 7 to 9%, maybe a little bit more with some of these, and I'll just enjoy the distributions. I don't have to worry about selling. I just continue to just hold them. My next holding, I combine this all into one, and that is Bitcoin, gold, and some silver. I hold BTCI and Biddy. I also own Blocks. So there you have it. So Blocks has some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some miners. That is where I've placed some money into, is Blocks. I also have MS2 or MSII from RexShares. I like the new RexShares 1.25 leverage. They're writing 62.5% calls and everything else is uncapped. They appear to be doing what they should be doing. I also own COII, which is on Coinbase. And I'm just holding one of these, taking the distributions every single week. Maybe one day I'll put money back into it, but until it gets well below my cost basis, I'm just taking the distributions and probably going to hold cash. I got the gold funds. I have IAUI and I also have KLGD. KLGD's doing slightly better than IAUI, but let's face it, one's writing weeklies, one's writing monthlies, two different strategies. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to have both of them. And I do have both of them. Now, silver, I have the silver junior miners, and I also have the silver miners junior uncapped. I also own bar uncapped, which is gold. I have HODL, which is uncapped Bitcoin. Brad, you're an income investor. Brad is sitting here going, why not have just a little small portion of uncapped? Because I started using baskets at Fidelity, and I can just put these into baskets. Gets a little out of balance, I hit rebalance. That's all I got to do. So until that happens, I'm just going to take the distributions. Now, let's go ahead and look at the next one. I have preferred stocks. Now, I moved those preferred stocks down a little bit, but PFFA, my cost basis pays me just over 9%. I'm happy with it. I'm only using 8% to live on. 8% of cost. I feel that that's a reasonable amount of money to be able to take out of your account because I'm living on my distributions. I'm not paying off margin. I'm not doing this and that and all this other stuff. I'm living on my distributions. The next one I have is REITs. I have IYRI. It pays right around that 11%. It's been going sideways ever since I've owned it. And I also bought XLRI and XLRE. Well, one is the income version and one just has the REITs uncapped. And I'm using it as combined because their version actually rates more on the underlying than I like. So I said, hey, I can just hold a little bit of the underlying. And again, it's in a basket. So all I ever have to do is hit the little button and it will automatically rebalance it for me. But hey, these are paying me my distributions. Again, it pays me more than my 8%, so I'm good. I also have a little bit of energy, small portion, but a little bit of energy. Right, so I have AMLP currently, and I have XLEI and XLE. They're based on energy. One's an income fund, one's the uncapped version. Now, AMLP will probably get replaced with the new NEOS funds because AMLP will be within the holdings of NEOS for master limited partnerships. At least that's what the prospectus says. We will see how it does and what it pays. But hey, I make my little bit of percentage and I have energy in my portfolio. I also have senior secured loans. These are floating rate and people didn't catch it because I sold some and I took a little bit of money off the table. But I said, wait a second, anything that is going to be on rate cuts, which the Fed did, will probably go down a little bit in value. Now, will they still continue to pay me my 11%? Probably. I also own Stark. If you remember way back in the day, I said Stark was probably going to be something that you should buy, which I did. I got a cost basis of 92.13. So I'm collecting my percentage every single month and just saying, hey, I'm good. I have a low cost basis and they're going to pay me this. I'm just fine. Just go ahead and take the distributions and I have Stark. Now, will I be putting more into it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that I'm just going to hold off. Now, I could play a little game with it, like buy it before the ex-dividend date and then wait for it to rise and sell, and then I still collect. And I don't think so. I think that sounds like too much work, and I don't want a JOB. Now, one thing I have been doing with my portfolio is I moved to Snowball. So one thing I did is I also moved to Snowball just recently. I use Snowball now to track my distributions and look at it because I just thought it was getting to be too much of a hassle to sit there and look at Google Sheets, especially when you have a couple weekly payers, and it just became a hassle. So I moved to Snowball. If you're interested in Snowball, there is a link down below just in case you want to go check them out. Now for what everybody's been waiting for. What's in your cover call equity portfolio, Brad? We want to know. Let's take a look at it. So I hold my SPY, pay me my 12%. I still have my QQQI, 14%. I sold a little GIAX, moved it around a little bit, but it still pays me my 24%. QDevo, 8 to 9, KQQQ. If you didn't see the video from yesterday, I'll link it above, but KQQQ is beating the Qs. So why not hold it? I also have T-SPY, paying me 14%. Now TDAC has done well. I've been watching his calls and he's done well. There's been like one day in 2 weeks he even got anything. So there you have it. He's going to pay between 16 and 18% on TDAC. Not a guarantee, but I've been watching the calls and I bet it's going to be very close to that. GPIQ pays me about that 10%, and I call it good because I'm living on 8. Now, I also have a small holding in QQQM. Yes, uncapped. There you have it. I'm going to use that, let it rise in price, and then maybe one day, Brad will say, hey, I need to buy some puts because I want to hedge the market if it goes south. And I'll sell my QQQM and hedge. But we will get to that, and my community members in Circle will know when I do something like that. Now, I also have an AI holding. My AI holding is NVII, TSII, GPTY, and Chat. Chat, Brad, that's not an income fund. But Brad has it in a basket. It gets out of whack. Chat can go up. I can hit the rebalance button. But having a little bit of uncapped inside the basket really helps that basket when there's a great big move to the upside because it's capturing the upside. And then I can just hit the button and hit rebalance. Now, last time I did this a few months ago, there was this whole email, and this past email said that, hey, YMAX was beating QQQI and SPY. And I said, oh, maybe. You can see those. That was back in June, so that was like July. So, okay, now it's September. Is that still true? I don't know. Let's look at the charts and let's see if it still holds true today, because it might not. But we will never know unless we look at the charts. And when I look at the first chart, it does hold true on a year-to-date chart. Interesting. Just barely, but they held on. If I go to a one-year chart, look at that. They are beating SPY and QQQI. And I thought that was extremely interesting. But the whole reason I bring this up is there's a point to this. A very important point. Now, yes, they can be beating SPY and QQQI. But let's look at the next chart. The next chart is on price. And you see that their price is down 28%. They have a distribution rate of 33%. So let's face it, I personally don't like to drip into things unless it's 3.5% below my cost basis. And you probably could have done pretty well taking your distributions and holding on to them and then reinvesting every time it was 3.5% below your cost basis. You could have done pretty well. But at the same time, and this is just Brad's personal opinion, not financial advice or any other advice, you can't live off of that 33% distribution rate. You can't. Hopefully that has sunk in if you've been watching me for a while. 33%, can't live off of it. If you take 8% on cost, you would have been just fine. So hopefully you find this entertaining and educational at the same time. And leave me a like and a comment down below. I always appreciate it. Just don't make them like 3 paragraphs long, because I get like tired after I read the first 2 sentences. Anyway, until next time, God bless.